I acquired my then slightly used DR650 a couple of years ago, and I immediately knew that the tires had to go. So I mounted up Shinko 705s with heavy-duty tubes inside, and I was fairly impressed with their own road manners. But several of y'all have requested my thoughts about the 705s in the dirt. So after a couple of thousand miles of riding on the 705s, I'm prepared to share my thoughts about their off-road performance, and also update you on their on-road performance. So after 2,000 miles, the Shinko 705s demonstrate very little visible wear, and I was a little concerned about this, in particular the rear tire wear, because I really like to lean on the throttle of the DR650. Feedback from the tires is somewhat unremarkable. It's not great, and it's not bad. When you're riding on the road on the Shinko 705s and the pavement is warm, you really don't think about them that much. They kind of just get out of the way of the bike. However, when the pavement temperatures cool off, the 705s get really slippery. Application of the rear brake that results in early rear tire lock serves as my warning that the 705s are less than happy with current conditions. But in average temps, a DR650 shod with Shinko 705 should allow an intermediate level rider to push the bike quick enough. I've even outpaced a Tenere down a curvy mountain road and did it while carrying a full load of camp gear. If you've watched my earlier DR650 videos, you'd know that the tires the motorcycle came with, Tuska D Sports, caused head shake around 62 miles an hour. This obviously made riding on state highways a bit annoying, if not a bit dangerous. It slowed down cornering such that sporty riding was impossible and made interstate riding a non-starter. The Shinko 705s, with their conservative tread pattern and shape, exhibit none of that head shake behavior on the DR650. And let's just say while I don't enjoy interstate or higher speeds when riding the DR650, with the 705s mounted you can certainly do it, and they won't complain. With road manners out of the way, let's get down to the dirty stuff. Y'all, transitioning from pavement to gravel sucks. And that's been my experience on many tires. The Shinko 705s are no different. But ride the DR650 with 705s beyond gravel to crushed rock, and the story gets more exciting. Traction up front improves, and the feeling of control returns. The 705s go where you point them, and let the overly soft front fork of the DR650 chatter away, soaking it all up. And traction out back is even more impressive. Sliding the back end of the DR650 out with a throttle requires intention. It's rarely or ever accidental. The overall experience is similar to what I mentioned on the road. The tires just get out of the way, but that's on forest roads of easy to intermediate difficulty. One time I attempted to navigate the DR650 down a Jeep road where the rocks were larger and moistened with recent rain, and the 705s felt like I was riding on marbles. It is worth noting that the rear tire did better than the front, and ascending that same path was really easy. But I was quickly reminded that these are 80/20 tires at best. It's worth mentioning that I choose to run the Shinko 705s at 23 psi, and when I'm off-road I don't air the tires down. Suzuki recommends 25 psi for the factory death wings. And y'all, remember, always experiment with tire pressures at your own risk. And now the $350 question. Are the 705 tires the right tires for my DR650, and perhaps for yours? The Shinko 705s work great on pavement from late spring to late summer, but early and late season rides suffer from less traction and can get sketchy, especially in the mornings or after a light rain on the road. But perhaps more important than on-road performance, I found that I ride my DR650 off-road more than I thought, and I'd prefer to exploit this bike more in the dirt and take on challenging single track too. I feel so convicted of this that the 705s will probably come off my DR650 in a few weeks, with less than 3,000 miles on the tires. A 50/50 tire would simply be more fun for the way that I ride. But y'all, that's me. If you're a take-it-easy type of rider that doesn't ride much on chilled mornings, and doesn't want to challenge the DR650 in mud or tricky downhill paths, the 705s might be your tire. In fact, these might be perfect for commuting if you live in warm urban environments and want to occasionally cruise off-road. And if you have a favorite tire for the DR650 or another dual sport, let me know in the comments what they are and why you love them. I really want to hear from you. Thanks for watching.